Now that you've met your bishop and you have some idea of what a bishop is and what a bishop does, it's time to introduce you to another brand new word. Are you ready? The new word that I'd like for you to learn is diocese. D-I-O-C-E-S-E. Now, you don't use that word every day, but some of us do. Those of us who are involved in the everyday life of the church understand that the word diocese is a great word to explain who we are as a church family. Let me explain to you where it came from. When the church was very young, the first communities were small, and there would be one church in a community, and it was directed by a bishop. The bishop would lead worship. And as churches grew, and they grew very quickly, the bishops often had to travel, and so they had to ask others to lead worship in these small places while he was gone. In time, the people that helped the bishop became known as ministers. We called them priests and deacons. Now, if you saw my last video, remember how I spoke about the way Romans allowed bishops to lead their churches, and how bishops began to wear the same kind of clothing that the Romans wore? Well, not only did bishops do that, churches used the way the Roman Empire organized their cities and their towns and their villages. And as Christian communities grew, they became really big, they began to call themselves a diocese. And the smaller communities that were within the diocese were called parishes. And to go a little bit further, sometimes parishes had small communities too, and they were called congregations. Simple, right? But wait, there's more. A little more complicated, but not too bad. Dioceses that were close together were known as a province. In our tradition, the head of a province is an archbishop. So let's have a quick look now at our own diocese and beyond. Our diocese is called the Diocese of Central Newfoundland. And I know that if you're watching this and you're part of a confirmation class, you've already had some connection with the church that's close to the place where you live. Now, most of our churches have a saint's name, and every saint has a story about their life that inspires us in some way. Who inspires you? Let me ask you, perhaps, who is your favorite singer and why? Now, the church that's close to your home that you attend or that you belong to or your family belongs to is called a congregation. Can you tell me the name of your congregation? Now, most of our congregations belong to a family of churches. Think about all the communities around you. Do your friends come to school from somewhere on a bus? Chances are there's an Anglican church where they live that has a saint's name too. The different churches around you belong to a parish. The parish usually has one minister who leads the worship and work of each church, and that minister has lots of people who help. What is the name of your parish? Now, in the larger area where you live, we use the word deanery. And deanery is a word we use to describe a group of parishes in an area. In our diocese, we have 6 deaneries. And in a little while, I'm going to show you a map so you can see them. As I said, our diocese is called the Diocese of Central Newfoundland. We have 29 parishes and over 100 church buildings, and we have dozens and dozens of church halls. In addition, many of our parishes have houses called rectories where our ministers live. Our parish halls are used for all kinds of gatherings and to help the community that we live in. Now, I don't want to get too complicated, but you should know, as an Anglican, we join with dioceses and parishes all across Canada. And as a bishop, I meet a couple of times a year with all the Canadian bishops to pray, talk, and learn. Now, we are part of the Anglican Church of Canada. And you know, there are over 600,000 Anglicans in Canada who are part of our church. And there are over 1,700 parishes across the country. And that's not all. Anglicans are all over the world. Every country in the world has Anglican churches, and we are known as the Anglican Communion. The church where our story began was in a place called Canterbury. Now, here is a picture of Newfoundland, and you'll see to the left we have one diocese, in the center we have another diocese, and to the right we have another diocese. The diocese on the right is the Diocese of Eastern Newfoundland and Labrador. The diocese on the left is the Diocese of Western Newfoundland. And your home and mine is right here in the middle, the Diocese of Central Newfoundland.